is Melanie Wilkinson with YorkNewsTimes.com. Well, it's almost 2014, and we all know what that means. It's going to be an election year. Shane Osborn, a Republican who is a former state treasurer, stopped here in New York this past week as he goes about the campaign trail around the state. He wanted to talk about some of his policies, what he believes in, and how he wants to stand up for veterans.
Well, it really goes back to growing up, being raised by a single mom who worked 3 jobs. She taught me everything I needed to know about work ethic, but she also became director of nursing at the Norfolk Veterans Home. And so I grew up around veterans. And so service above self has always been a part of me. And then when I graduated, I went to University of Nebraska on a ROTC scholarship for the Navy. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford college. And then got a degree in mathematics and statistics and headed off to live my dream and fly for the Navy and serve for 9 years. And there's a saying in the Navy that I think says it all, that many men have given their lives for. It's not on my watch. And so I think that applies here. I refuse to sit back and watch this country decline.
Do you think it is?
I do. If we don't make some changes quickly, we don't want to get to the point of no return. But I honestly think our best days are ahead of us. We just have to make some tough adult decisions. And we need more people serving in the Congress that will put the country above their own political best interests, so to speak. And as a veteran, I think that I've already proven that. I always tell people, being a Navy pilot and having a midair collision and surviving it, that doesn't have a whole lot to do with being a good U.S. Senator, other than people know I'll fight. But when you're a prisoner for 12 days, sitting in a chair getting interrogated, kept awake almost 7 straight days, you learn a lot about your faith, a lot about yourself, but more importantly, I just tell people, listen, we send a lot of people to Washington, D.C., they tell us what we want to hear, and we get them out there, and the pressure gets to them, and they seem to change, right, and do the opposite almost.
Why?
I don't know. I don't understand.
Well, that happened to you?
I think you have to go there for the right reasons. Well, that's exactly.
Well, no.
No, and that's what I tell people.
That's a voter's question.
Quite frankly, I withstood for 12 days the most intense interrogations that you could probably imagine. And there's been people who've been through a lot worse, but it's pretty intense when they're telling you you're going to jail the rest of your life and your crew could start disappearing one at a time. And I tell people, if I can stand up to the communist Chinese, I can certainly handle Harry Reid. When I ran for state treasurer, I ran on a very simple platform, and I defeated an incumbent Republican 2-1, and I kept my promises. I said 2 things. I'm a fiscal conservative and I believe in complete transparency. And we've had conversations over the years about this. Over a 4-year period, I cut my budget 12%. I cut the budget. Didn't slow growth, I actually cut it. And I reduced the staff by almost a quarter. I know how to shrink government. But we made the office so much better and so much more efficient that even though we'd cut it like this, we won the Treasury Marquis Award for the top treasurer's office in the country, public or private. So I know how to get more out of government. I've proven that. The other thing, for less than $40,000, we brought transparency to Nebraskans in nebraskaspending.gov. And I created that.
I do remember.
And so if the government's going to take our money, the least they can do is give us a receipt, right? And so what we have in Nebraska is the ability to watch where our money's being spent, historical data, as well as who are the vendors doing business with the state, right? You can get on there and see that. And that's something we need in Washington, D.C. So my point is that I've proven, we know we need to shrink the size of government. Well, I've done it. And yes, I understand it's a much bigger task out there, but at least I can say that I've accomplished it. So first thing, it's just like triage. Stop the bleeding. Right? Stop the bleeding, live within your means. That will let the world know we're getting serious, that we're not just continuing to print money like we are now and devalue the dollar. Then you have a big task of trying to actually reduce the size of our debt burden, or at least grow the economy so it's a smaller percentage of our economy. That's how you that's why I tell you it's not going to happen overnight. This is a grind. Just like running for office, it's a grind. There's no big flashy things. It's getting out there and meeting people. This is getting out there, making those tough decisions that we have to do to build this out.